right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first installment of the Light at Night podcast. I am your host, Ed Ferris. And on the second mic, but not on camera, because she has warrants out for arrest in 3 different states, probably the one that she lives in right now, Candace. And on the third mic, we have the podcast unicorn, Solomon Green. So, welcome to this new podcast. How are you doing, Solomon?
Doing good. Sinuses are messed up this week. The weather just bounces back and forth. It's just wrecking me, Ed. Wrecking me.
It's wrecking you? Well, it's, we live in the Midwest, and this is how we live, How about you, Candace?
Pretty uneventful, normal week, so I'll take it. I like it.
All right.
And how are you doing, Ed?
Well, it was my twins' birthday party, and that went over well today. We had a birthday party, went to Chuck E. Cheese. I avoided Ebola, hopefully. If there's ever another pandemic, it's going to start right there at Chuck E. Cheese. It's a scary place.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so we got this new podcast. I have no idea what we're really going to be doing. I think in the times that we're living in, they're a little bit dark. So we just thought that we would get together and talk about some things and shine some light on some subjects. That's kind of our goal right now. Whatever this becomes, it'll happen. But so let's just get started. Solomon, you've got a topic for us.
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see.
Yeah, I got a little topic for you. Since I don't have kids, I saw this. I wouldn't say it's a quiz. It's a. They wrote it like a little kid just talking to people that are what to expect with kids.
Yeah.
And so they took it. It might have been a little kid that wrote that thing. I don't know. But basically, they're saying for a parent for 2020 how to take care of a kid. Okay. And I was just curious if you agreed with their top 10 here, or you're just like, no, that's not right. So, are you guys up for it?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. So number 1, I learned by watching you. Don't tell me what to do. Show me what to do. Do you agree with that statement?
Candace, you go first.
Oh boy. I agree and I don't agree all at the same time. Yes, you need to be good examples for your children because they are going to learn, I think, like anybody does, from what they're seeing. And if you tell someone something and you show them something different, you're definitely not going to gain any trust or respect there. But there are also times where you need to be able to tell your kids stuff, and it's because you know best, and maybe not in that moment can you necessarily show them that, but you need to be able to tell them things, and they need to know that you have their best interest in mind and that they need to follow your lead. So I kind of
50-50.
Both ways. Yeah.
I think I'm probably 50-50 on that too.
Okay.
Yeah, like the other day, this is a little bit different, but just how they process information. So my one daughter, we were standing out at the bus stop, and she's rolling around in the wet grass, and I told her, I said, "Hey, get off the grass." And my other daughter looks at me and she goes, "You're in the grass." And I'm like, "What?" But so she sees me in the grass, and she's not understanding that it's not the idea that we're in the grass. It's because my daughter is rolling in the wet grass.
Yeah.
So, I think that there's a point where, yes, they can see you do something and they can learn that way, but there's also that point where you have to just be like, no, we're doing this because this is unsafe. And,
Gotcha. All right. I don't think you guys would disagree with this one. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know. You guys might be cold-hearted. I don't know. All right. Number 2. Give me lots of hugs and kisses every day. Do you agree with that statement?
Candace?
Yes, I do, especially when they're little. It's a little bit different for me because I have a 16-year-old boy. I do grab him and give him hugs, but it's a little different now. I think he might run away from home if I was hugging him and kissing him all day long, but
Sure.
I definitely do tell him countless times a day, "Hey, bud, I love you," and so I think that definitely you can't go wrong with loving your kids too much. So
Yeah, you're showing compassion, telling them that you love them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because when our kids were a little bit younger, probably I'd say about 2 years ago, so they were like 3 years old. I'm over there and I'm hugging my daughters and everything, and I started talking to my wife, and I was like, "You think I show too much affection because I'm always hugging them and grabbing them, and just kissing them and stuff?" And I was like, "Is there a point?" And the reason that I ask her this is because I grew up in a house where that wasn't something that you did. Like, I can't imagine my dad like coming up and like hugging me and kissing me. It was a different time.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a hard time just adjusting to it. But I mean, they're constantly coming over and wanting hugs. And my one daughter will actually like drive her head into the side of my shoulder and to let me know I need a hug, So I don't think obviously you can go overboard and it's like, let your kid go play. But no, it's just one of those things, you just keep on reminding them that you love them. And
Sure.
so, yeah.
All right, so question number 3 here. My brain is still developing. Teach me patiently. And learn on... Okay. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. My brain is still developing. Teach me patiently and let me learn on my own time. Candace, what do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, every child is different and they're going to develop at a different rate. So if you put pressure on them or you are looking yourself and comparing them to other kids and expecting them to grow and learn at that rate, you can really do a lot of damage. So, and patience, I think all parents will tell you it is definitely needed. It's hard sometimes, but yeah, you have to, and if you want them to be patient in their life and patient with others and someday with their own children, I mean, they've got to learn it somewhere. So,
Now, I remember, I will say who it was. I'll say I grew up in my life yelling at me because I was mowing the grass. And they were yelling at me because they didn't want me chopping my leg off or my foot off. Because I was trying to mow the grass in sandals. But I get the, "Hey, moron, you're going to cut your leg off. Stop that."
Yeah.
There might be something to that teaching. I mean, I don't know, but...
I mean, yeah, it could have done without the moron and done it in a more patient kind of way. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that the whole patience thing is very important. And it's very hard when you're in the moment, especially when there's things that have to be done. You have to get to like a doctor's appointment or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody. She's a new mom. I think her baby was like 5 months old, and I gave her a little pointer, and I said one of the things that you don't want to get into the habit of is picking your child up all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like when they're younger and they're starting to walk, I see parents pick their child up and carry them everywhere, and that's fine. But a lot of times it's because we're impatient, we're in a hurry, and it's like sometimes you just have to take that time and let your kid walk, and be patient with them if you can. I mean, obviously, like if you were on the way to the hospital, you don't let your kid walk or whatever. But it's just little things like that, and it really, you have to make a conscious effort to be patient with them because, like I said, when things start getting crazy, the whole patience thing goes out the window, and you just think about getting things done, and you forget about, oh, they're not ready for this. Like, you have to slow it down. My daughter is really big about going slow with things, and she does great. But the moment that you start speeding up, she just kind of shuts down, and then we have the meltdown, and then it backfires, and you're in a really bad position. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So question number 4. Always be there for me, no matter what. No matter what.
I agree. 100% with that. I tell Shane all the time, no matter what, doesn't mean that I might not be disappointed. or, whatnot at different times. But no matter what, I am always here, and that will not change. I think it's very important.
Yes, I've already gotten into the habit of telling my daughters I will always be there for you. Because they ask me, what if I have an accident? What if I do something bad? And it's like, no, I will always love you. I'll always be there for you. And so you have to just teach them that, you're not going to go anywhere. You may not agree with some of their life decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. So
Sure.
yeah, but I'll always be there for them, and they'll have to do what they got to do.
So you guys might disagree with this one. I'm curious what you guys will think about this one. Number 5. Don't talk at me. Talk with me.
I agree.
Okay.
To an extent. I mean, I wouldn't say it's 50-50 on my thoughts, but yeah, talking with my son seems to go a lot better than when he feels like I'm just talking at him and telling him things and not giving him a chance to process it or to ask me questions about the situation.
Sure.
But there are extreme situations where you do kind of, I guess, have to talk at them because there's an emergency or whatever it may be, and you just need them to hear what you're saying, and you don't necessarily have a time to sit down and have a conversation. So
Sure.
I think it goes both ways.
Yes, I'm kind of with Candace on this. There are situations where you just can't. I mean, you're not going to sit down and have a little powwow about, we need to leave now because the house is on fire. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, I mean, I see a lot of parents like they talk to their kids about just about everything, and it's always a discussion. It's like some things just aren't a discussion. Some things are just cut and dry, and we're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to balance it out, and you don't talk to them like they're just like they're your employees or something, because they won't respond to it. That's the thing. They'll respond like an employee, a disgruntled employee, if you start talking to them like that. They catch on real quick.
Sure.
So,
Uh-huh.
All right. So number 6. Sometimes I just want to talk without you saying anything. What do you
That's a
think about
good one. I just actually had that conversation with Shane a couple days ago, and he said that there are times where he would just like to express himself, tell me what he's thinking, what he's feeling, and just get it out. And he doesn't necessarily, not that he doesn't appreciate my advice, but I think he was being nice, but that there are times where he just needs to talk. And I understand that. I think we all do. We just sometimes need someone to listen, and we're not looking for anything back, just the fact that they're there and listening.
I can't imagine if I told that to my dad. What the response would have been. Hey, but you know what? Doesn't matter.
Right. Get over it.
Ed, what do you think about that?
Well, at the age that they're at right now, they're 5 years old, so that really hasn't come into play yet.
Sure.
I mean, my daughters, so when they're 5, they ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just let them talk, and they'll talk about different things. They'll explain different things, and so I don't always have. I'm not a real big talker anyway, so I don't have to talk to them a lot as far as like me interrupting or giving advice or whatever. I'll let them have their time and just talk. So yeah, right now it's not something that we really deal with.
Do you guys find that it's if you let your kids talk, you find out lies, not lies, but things that they've done that they shouldn't have done? Have you guys found that to be true? I mean, and you have little kids, so you might not know this, but
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I haven't really found out lies or anything like that. He's pretty, I mean, we have a good rapport. He's pretty good with talking to me, and he knows he can come to me with just about anything, but I do find things that he's holding back, things that he hasn't said that maybe he should have, or, things that he needed to talk about that I just had no idea what was going on. So maybe more of that, not really lies.
Yeah, my daughters just make up stories right now. Like, there was a dinosaur in my room, and I'm supposed to like believe it. And so they're not lying. I think they actually believe it.
Yeah, my nephew told me that him and me went down and chased deer, and we killed a deer, and then we ate a deer. And I was like, really? What the hell is that? So so. Like you said, kids have wild imaginations. All right, so number 8. Let me play outside all the time.
Can I take this one, Candace? Okay. Let me play outside all the time. Okay, that's moronic. Okay, we live in a place where it can get pretty cold, like below 0. Yeah. So if we let's just play that out. Just let your kid play outside all the time. Your kid is going to get frostbite, probably freeze to death, possibly slip on ice.
Tornadoes.
Like there's so many things that could happen if you just let them play outside all the time.
Tornadoes outside.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. You have anything else to talk about that, Kansas, or do you agree with all that?
Well, no. I mean, I don't know how I could not agree with that. You don't want to see your toddler, flying past the. You don't want to see him flying past the window with the lawn chairs and stuff. But I wish that I could get my son to go outside a little bit more. When he was younger, we did play outside a lot, but definitely not in tornado season or anything. So.
Sure. All right. So this one. Yeah. I can't wait to hear. Number 9. Give me food that is nutritious. Give me food that is nutritious and environmental friendly.
Boy, there we go. All right. Candace?
Well, I agree with the nutritious food, yes.
Yeah.
As far as environmentally friendly, I mean, I suppose, does that mean I need to be able to throw it in the compost pile out yonder? I'm not really sure. So, yeah, nutritious I agree with. I hope that we're being environmentally friendly. I don't know. Ed, you take that one away.
I can already see the person who asked this question. So I'll just
So I am noticing with some of the shows that my daughters watch, there's a lot of like environmental stuff on there, and that's fine. I don't think that we should destroy the earth. I'm definitely not for that. I may have differing opinions on things. With the nutritious stuff, it's hard to get 5-year-olds to eat anything.
Well, it's expensive too.
It's expensive too. We could go out and we could buy organic everything and do that. I really try to stay away from sugar, but it's really difficult because there's sugar in like everything. But I mean, we've talked to the pediatrician, and he's really honest. He's like, you know what, my kids, when they were growing up, they just ate horrible. And he goes, most of the parents come in here, they feel bad because their kids are eating horrible. He goes, the most important part is that they're eating.
Sure.
They're 5 years old. They'll, you can give them vegetables, but they don't really desire it. Once they have like candy, it's over. They don't want broccoli. It's not happening. So it sounds good in theory. And I thought that I was going to be the parent that was going to avoid sugar with my kids, which was stupid because the first Halloween, that went out the window. And as far as like the environment and stuff, like, yeah, I mean.
Well, I remember growing up, and because I'm a picky eater because I have sensory issues. I like textures and stuff that bugs me.
Yeah.
So growing up, there were some foods I wouldn't eat. My parents were like, well, you don't eat, you just won't starve. And there was like, the food's right there. So, and you know what? When I got hungry enough, I ate it. So,
Yeah, I try to get my kids to eat, some good food, and they will, but a lot of times they're just like, I want Lucky Charms, and I'm like, I hate Lucky Charms, but you know what? You'll eat them, so here's some Lucky Charms.
All right, so number 10. Now, I can see Candace having more opinion about this because I can't see Ed agreeing to this. Number 10. Just trust me with my decision-making skills.
Oh, that's a complicated one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at that stage right now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work on age-appropriate things for a 16-year-old, and because I want him to be able to make good decisions, and you only learn through trial and error.
Yep.
So we're trying to make sure that they're age-appropriate, but that is a very complicated thing. But I do give him trust with his school stuff, and give him the benefit of the doubt. Make sure he's handling things. He's got his own bank account, different things like that. And that's the kind of decision making. So, and letting him hang out with friends, but I do still oversee a lot of things. So that's a complicated one. That's very complicated.
I remember when I was 16, 17. I told my parents, I'll just trust me, I ain't doing it. I'm just going to hang out with some friends. Yeah, shooting bottle rockets. Having bottle rocket wars. Shooting bottle rocket at each other. I mean, so, yeah, it's like, teenagers are dumb. So you can't trust them.
Yeah, pretty much. I oversee most things, and I tell him about the kind of 16-year-old I was, and that way I can scare him. Like, look, you're gonna be like, Mom.
Yeah, hopefully don't encourage. Like, oh, really?
No, I don't go too far into detail. I am careful about what I say, but I definitely let him know the pros and cons and what can happen. And yeah, that's a complicated one. What do you think, Ed?
So your daughter, if she wants to just put her hand in a blender, you're gonna let her do it, right? Just trust her decision-making skills.
Well, my one daughter, she has a lot of confidence in her decisions. It doesn't matter if it's wrong or not.
Yes.
Like, she's the type of kid that, when she was in diapers, I could see her trying to open up a bank account. Like, she just has that certain... Like, she was... Okay, we're at Chuck E. Cheese today, and I'm looking over, and, like, every 5 minutes, she's on a ride. Like, they had, like, a carousel. But she wasn't paying for it. She's just jumping on with the other kids and getting a free ride. And she's smiling and talking to the other kids, and the parents are like, oh, okay, But as far as decision making, it's weird because at this age, they think they can do everything. Like, if I told my daughter, I need you to drive home, she would try to do it. That's just how her brain works. And so I have to actually be careful because, I joke around with them a lot. And I'll say something like, hey, you want to drive? And they're, yeah. Sure, give me the keys. And it's like, I've heard of stories where kids have gotten in the car and driven through the house and stuff. And that's one of the fears that I live with. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, that was all the top 10 there. So what do you guys agree? You guys, for raising a kid in 2020, do you think it's a good list to follow or no? Kansas.
Yeah, for the most part, because those are pretty, I think, fundamental. They kind of go over all generations. Those are things that...
Yeah, they were... I didn't think they were... I thought they were reasonable.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be some crazy stuff, to be honest, Saul, so... I'm relieved that
I can get some real crazy ones if you want.
Oh, no, I just got to go talk to the other parents in the neighborhood. No problem there.
Sure.
Back to the one of the topics about patience. Something that I learned the other night. We were at this dance, and they had how they have like the little photo booth or whatever where you can wear the funny hats and the scarf or whatever.
Oh,
so my daughters wanted to do that, and there was a big long line, and this is one of those kind of bad parenting moments. It wasn't horrible, but I felt pretty bad. So I started getting a little anxious because there's all these parents waiting. Mm-hmm. And my one daughter that I was telling you about, you have to really kind of go slow with her because she starts to kind of melt down if you rush her.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to rush and get all the stuff and put all the stuff on them. And she's wanting to pick things out, but she's being very deliberate of what she wants. But I am seeing all these people in line, and my anxiety is going up, and so I'm trying to kind of rush her. And the lady that was taking the pictures kind of goes, are you guys ready? And I was like, well, I am. And she's like, well, are they? And I'm like, yeah, they're ready. And I don't think they were. And you can kind of see it in the picture. And so it was one of those parenting moments where you feel bad and you're like, but you learn something. You learn that even though there's a long line, you can take your time. It's not because I could have done that differently. I could have set them aside and let the next people go, and then we pick out the costume and then go.
Yeah.
But because I got anxious and I was kind of caught up in the moment, I didn't do that. And so my daughters, you can kind of see it in the picture, and it's it kind of bothers me, but you learn.
Sure. So I don't know. I guess for closing things for this podcast, you guys got anything else to say?
I was really hoping that this was going to be one of those topics that were like just crazy people asking questions, or crazy parenting advice.
I mean, I would recommend if anybody wants to hear crazy questions, just get a Twitter account and just read comments. I mean, there is some stuff on Twitter. I'm like, what in the world is wrong with people?
Yeah, so. A lot of weird parenting out there.
Well, I guess we're done then. Thanks for joining us, guys. Like and subscribe if you like this. If you don't, and you already watched it, so it doesn't matter. You already got your views. So anyway, you guys have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, you too. Bye.